Welcome to another episode of Titans Tube. This week we're going to be covering a very popular subject in the NFL, fantasy football.
And now, before we get started, I would like to say that we will have a very special announcement at the end of this episode that you will not want to miss. Now wait! Do not skip ahead to this moment.
Don't do it.
I repeat, do not skip ahead to this time right here. I swear! If you do that, bad things will happen.
You have been warned. Anyways, as this is Titans Tube, we are going to be covering a very specific realm of fantasy football players that you, as a manager, could find very useful. Titans players, duh.
Now, we all know how dreadful life in fantasy world has been for you if you've happened to draft one of the Titans players these last few years. Heck, maybe you even picked up Justin Hunter after he caught a few touchdown passes from Clipboard Jesus against the Browns a few years ago when everyone told you that he was going to have a breakout season. But it didn't happen.
Then, everyone told you to draft Bishop Sankey ahead of Justin Forsett a few seasons ago. Look where that got you. The bottom of the league, I bet. All of this to say that Titans players have been a bit of a black sheep when it comes to fantasy.
Don't you mean black fish?
Absolutely nothing is happening.
He's right. Absolutely nothing happens in fantasy with Titans players typically. But I think this is the year where all of that changes, and we are here to give you advice to keep an eye on some Titans players that could be of use to you.
Now, if you were like me, and you should be, then you drafted Mariota in your league's fantasy draft last year, because he's going to be one of the greatest QBs that ever played the game. Duh. And while he did have a few decent games last year, he was nowhere near consistent enough to start ahead of other great options. Dare I even say Fitzpatrick was a better option last year?
Oof. But still, Mariota has a lot of potential in fantasy this year. I mean, not only is he returning another great fantasy option in Delaney Walker, which we'll get to later, but he's received an all-around boost in talent. The O-line is better and stronger, so that should give him more time to throw the ball. The receivers are a lot deeper group this year, so he's going to have a lot more targets to throw to, a lot more options to spread the ball around. Caleb and I actually attended one of the Titans' open practices this week, and don't tell the rest of the NFL, but there were some designed quarterback runs that we were running, so we can expect Mariota's production on the ground to even receive a boost.
According to ESPN, he finished 22nd in most points scored for the QB, which actually isn't all that bad if you consider how many games he missed.
Safe pick. I think he's definitely going to be a solid QB2 option, at least to start the season, and he has the potential to take over as your number one quarterback, just depending on how the season pans out.
Bold pick, I'm saying he finishes in the top 10 scoring for all QBs. I mean, Cam Newton and Russell Wilson were two of the top 3 scoring QBs last year. And what do they have in common with Marcus Mariota? They get it done through the air as well as on the ground. And Marcus Mariota has this potential. I'm saying this kid has a breakout sophomore year.
On to the other most important position in fantasy football, the running backs. Now going into the season, we know that the Titans are going to try to establish a run-first philosophy, and DeMarco Murray is our number one running back. So I think he's going to get the ball a lot, he's going to get a lot of touches. So I think he has the potential to be your second running back taken in the draft.
You do have some good points, and yes, I agree the Titans are a run-first team. But run-first philosophy kind of goes out the window when you start trailing in games. And this is a 3-13 team last year. We trailed in a lot of games, and when that happens, the running game is always the first to suffer. Safe pick. Although Murray will be drafted high in many rounds, I do not by any means think that he's a high round necessity or a starter that you should bank on for your team. If you can establish a solid foundation at running back in the first few rounds, then I think Murray would be a smart pick later on to give some depth to your bench at that position. And best case scenario, if the Titans turn it around this year, he'll benefit.
Bold pick. Things all come together for the Titans' running game this year, and DeMarco Murray turns into one of the top fantasy running backs and becomes an every week starter. But having said that, I would keep an eye on Derrick Henry, because if anything should happen to DeMarco Murray, whether he just blows this year or if he goes down to injury, Derrick Henry's going to turn into the bell cow running back and get all of those touches. Also about Derrick Henry, He is a bit of an enigma. You might want to pick him up in like the last 2 rounds or so. That would be a very low risk but high reward for you. But on the other hand, he may never see the playing field if DeMarco Murray turns out to be a great running back.
Now, tight ends are a little tricky in fantasy. There are very select few over the years who are even worth drafting within the first few rounds. Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham. All the rest fall well below these masters of production, but can still be viable, and Delaney is one of your best bets.
Not only is he Marcus's favorite target, but the dude can just flat out ball. But he may experience, however, a drop in his production this year just due to the fact that we are a run-first team, and there's been an influx of talent in the receiving group around him. Safe pick, Delaney is definitely going to be a top 10 tight end this year. He's not quite at the level of Gronkowski, but I would say he's still worth reaching up a round or two for.
Bold pick, Delaney will become the top option at tight end this year for fantasy. The influx of talent around him will only help him contribute more, and his red zone presence will increase as the defense worries about other options. Look for a possible Gronkowski-esque year out of Delaney Walker. Now on to people that you should stay away from. The Titans wide receivers. Yes, the group has a lot of talent, but it's young and unproven talent. And yeah, one of them may have a breakout year, but a breakout year for a Titans receiver isn't even close to being on par with another breakout year for a receiver on another team. And at this point, we don't even know who the starting group's going to be, so just too many question marks here.
Kendall Wright has always been the best receiving option for the Titans in fantasy in the past, but he's quickly becoming forgotten. And we just signed Andre Johnson, but where was he last year when he was playing with one of the best QBs in the league? Oh. Dude, what was that for?
You complimented Luck.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry. We have DGB and Hunter, but they are still unproven assets. We have Tajay Sharp, but he's a rookie. We have Rashard Matthews, who may be your best option, but he's still rather unknown in fantasy land.
Safe pick, and there really is only a safe pick here. Stay away from the Titans wide receivers. If you're going to pick up any of these guys, wait till the waivers.
If you are pretty needy at wide receiver and you don't have a lot of options, I would say your safest bet is Rashard Matthews. I think he's going to be the Titans' #1 receiving option at wide receiver, at least at the start of the season. He would be the most reliable, but I would still stay away from him until the later rounds and if you're desperate. And now for my Titans sleeper pick of the draft, the Titans defense. Yes, that's right. I think the Titans defense is going to be strong this year. I think they could be a top 12 defense, which is how many teams you have in fantasy. So I would draft the Titans defense in a late round. In my opinion, I think the Titans front 7 is going to be really strong this year. We have Dick LeBeau as our defensive coordinator, and he loves to blitz, so we're going to have a lot of pass rush. We have good pass rushers, so that's going to mean sacks. That's going to mean forced throws by quarterbacks, so you're going to get turnovers. And I think there could be a very dark horse defense in fantasy this year.
No! You didn't listen to us! No! How could you? Trust me!
And now for the actual announcement we were talking about. In lieu of this fantasy football episode, we thought it would be a fun idea to play in a fantasy football leagues with you guys, the subscribers.
That's right. This is a time to put your skills to the test. And if you don't think we know what we're talking about, then this is your chance to prove it.
The league, we decided, is going to be invite only, and we made the decision to just do a computer automated draft. So come prepared to show your manager skills and your waiver wire skills, which is the main part of fantasy anyway.
It'll be a 12-team league, so that means there are 10 open spots available. We are going to choose those 10 people by the first 10 people to comment on this video below. So hurry up and start commenting. It's first come, first serve.
And in case you're wondering, yes, there's going to be a prize for the winner of the league. The stakes are pretty high, if you ask me. The winner will receive an autographed football by none other than DGB himself. I promise it's legitimate. He actually did sign this right here, and we're not kidding. We'll give this to you if you win the league, and if not, we're going to keep it right here. So,
the league will close for joining August 28th if we haven't reached capacity by then. So let's get started.
oh shoot! Titans tube out.